assaulted Shauna again while employing the regular Sharp. Frian arrived to speak to Alastor and Shauna, heal Marianne, and treat regular Sharp before departing. Shauna was able to fix the harm without having to sacrifice any of the classmates because of Yuji's sharing of his power of existence. Shauna and Alastor discussed Yuji's action later that evening. Yuji gave Shauna a hot cup of coffee after a profanity-laced apology. Shauna lamented the bitterness of the coffee and her need for sugar as she drank it. She requested a spoon once Shauna had added the extra sugar. On the same day, as Yuji went down the ladder to get a spoon to mix the coffee, she saw his torch restored at midnight. Meanwhile, an elderly man, later identified as Lamias, arrived in Misaki City and ate a torch that was about to vanish from the area. A flame haze named Marjorie Daw and her friend Crimson Lord, Marchosius, arrived in the city from the opposite side. Frian detected the presence of a second flame haze in the city within the Yoda department store. Shauna and Alastor deduced that Yuji was hunting for a spoon, because Reiji Maigo, a treasure tool that restores the power of existence by midnight, is inside of him. She stirs the coffee after receiving the spoon from Yuji. Yuji afterwards invites her to his home when it starts to rain. While Yuji hides in the closet and learns more about the Crimson Realm, Flame Haze, and Crimson Denizen, Shauna begins changing into new garments. After unintentionally breaking the closet door, Yuji fell out and was kicked by Shauna. Marjorie Daw, who is currently staying at the Misaki Hotel, is complaining both about the city of Misaki and the hotel. For Marianne, Frian the Hunter wanted to move quickly with his plan. Shauna walked downstairs to Yuji's room to sleep when she got tired. Due to Shauna and Yuji sharing a bed later in the morning, there was some noise. When Yoshida became fatigued at school, Shauna argued with the teacher and kicked twice. In the meantime, Marjorie Daw, another flame haze, visits Misaki City in search of Lamis to slaughter. She casts a spell and Shauna notices it. Shauna and Marjorie engage in combat, which Marjorie ultimately wins. Later, after losing, Shauna plunges into a river. After being vanquished, Shauna was enraged with Yuji and refused his assistance when she arrived at his house, wet and hurt. Using the crystal altar, Frian discovered Lamias' presence and set out to find him since he interrupted his plan to utilize torches for his beloved Marianne and could be responsible for the widespread loss of torches whose flames were about to burn out in the night. Yuji Sakai encounters Lamias, the corpse retriever, who has been consuming many of those in town whose flames were about to burn out. While they are both with Kazumi Yoshida at the art gallery after being invited by her with the aid of Ike. The two strike up a cordial chat. Frian the Hunter, who used the Fuzetsu to find the Lamias and abandoned Ida, and Keisaku, whom Marjorie Daw saved from a group of gangsters and served as the city guide, is encountered by Marjorie Daw. Shauna thinks of Keisaku as Yuji. Alastor advises her to permanently eliminate Yuji while she is still in her state of uncertainty. Due to his anti-flame ring, Frian managed to elude Marjorie and is now working to expedite his scheme. She was irate and yearned for a beer or a glass of wine when Frian made off. Yuji Sakai was astonished to learn about Frian's plot to consume the city after speaking with Lamias, and he ran straight out of the museum to get Shauna. Frian makes the decision to move more quickly with his preparations in order to avoid having them thwarted by the flame haze. He therefore casts the City Devourer spell as soon as possible. While they're strolling down the street, Shauna overheard Yuji discussing Frian's scheme. His mother approached him as they were about to argue. Shauna opened a Fuzetsu when his mother departed and intended to assassinate Yuji. Later, Shauna found a Fuzetsu and headed there right away. Later, when Frian employed the bubble route to force Shauna to charge at him with her sword wrapped, Yuji arrived to assist her in dodging his blow. Frian removed Yuji from the scene and left. Marjorie Daw, who was brought to Keisaku's home, intends to have fun while looking for Lamias. He expresses his sympathy for Flame Haze as Frian and Yuji wait for Shauna to visit the theme park. Yuji assisted Shauna in avoiding Frian's onslaught when she enjoyed the battle with him after being struck by him. Marjorie sensed the City Devourer being set off when Frian rang the dance party bell, and she knew that it would prevent her from being able to locate Lamias. Marianne blows herself up behind Shauna, knocking her out. The City Devourer is being triggered by Frian. After Shauna cuts Frian's finger with a sharp glass, Yuji grabs the anti-flame ring. Marjorie Daw arrives at the last minute to turn it off. He runs at Shauna, intending to attack her, but Shauna slices him and lets him die away. After having his power sucked by Trigger Happy, Yuji's power of existence becomes so weak that he starts to fade away. He starts to fade as midnight approaches, at which his power of existence is recovered. Alastor affirms that the Reiji Maigo, Midnight Lost Child, treasure tool inside of Yuji will restore his power. Yuji and Shauna start getting along. Shauna was prepared for battle after thanking Marjorie for helping her defeat Fryan, but Marjorie departed in search of Lamias. Alastor and Shauna presented an explanation of why Marjorie and Shauna gave Yuji contrasting impressions. Marjorie goes back to Keisaku's house where she gets drunk and passes out because she can't find Lamias. Keisaku and Ida are concerned, so Marchosius takes them to view the silver in Marjorie's past. The next day, Chigusa, Yuji's mother, interrupted Yuji and Shauna as they were working out. After that, Yuji and Alastor discuss Marjorie's hunt and the need to confront Marjorie as Shauna takes a bath. After discovering the crystal altar, Ida and Keisaku told Marjorie. Because Ida and Keisaku are unable to see Lamias, Marjorie casts a charm to find him twice. Shauna, who is also affected by the spell, and Yuji immediately proceed in search of Lamias. Later, Keisaku informed Marjorie that he had seen birds in the crystal altar. She then discovered how Lamias conceals his whereabouts by giving the appearance that he is moving quickly. She looks for Lamias in the location where the birds congregate. After saying thank you to the two lads, she promises to depart Misaki City once she has killed Lamias. The two lads didn't like Marjorie leaving them since they wanted to aid in her getting back at the Silver Denizen. Yuji discovers that Lamias was disguising his whereabouts by employing deceptive methods rather than actually traveling. When Shauna realizes that she was about to jump in the direction of where Yuji and Lamias first met, she urged Yuji to hold her tightly. She feels strong and as though she can accomplish anything when Yuji is by her side when she's jumping. Marjorie Da arrives at Lamias' location and activates Fuzetsu. She transforms into a werewolf and indicates an assault on him. He instantly runs away from her, but she keeps attacking. Shauna had abruptly severed one of Marjorie's changed hands. She was astounded to see Shauna arrive at the scene so quickly. They briefly converse before they begin to fight. Marjorie believes Shauna's degree of confidence, rather than her approach to combat, has altered since her previous defeat, not her ability to take the upper hand. She realizes Yuji is the source of her assurance. She attempts a spell to divert Shauna before attacking Yuji, but the anti-flame ring prevents it from working. Azure. She was then pierced by Shauna and reverted to her normal form. Later, the spell breaks, causing a tremendous explosion in the vicinity. Marjorie and Yuji are both holding onto the building ledges as they are on the verge of dropping. The crystal altar and the bookmark that Marjorie handed Ida and Keisaku are left behind when they depart Yoda department store. Marjorie promptly becomes her werewolf form once more and runs after Lamias as he departs. Yuji is instantly asked to break the anti-flame barrier that the ring fired to stop Marjorie's attack, so Shauna, who used her sword to save Yuji from falling, can open her wings for Crimson and fly to pursue Marjorie. After Shauna catches up with Lamias, she slashes Marjorie once again. While still aware, she remembers how she signed her contract with Marchosius and her history. As a result of Marchosius' subsequent manifestation into the world, there will be an imbalance. Then, in order to stop Marchosius from going crazy, Shauna invites Yuji to accompany her. Marjorie, who was dozing off and floating inside Marchosius' body, was hurt by them in order to stop Marchosius from attacking them. Marjorie awakens. If they keep pursuing Lamias, Shauna warns her they will stop her once more. Then Lamias encourages her to give up looking for the silver, since she will eventually run into him. Lamias corrects the city's distortion. Lamias was going to discuss the Reiji Maigo as he said goodbye to Shauna, Yuji, and Alastor, but stopped himself. Lamias was also asked by Yuji how long it would take him to gather enough power of existence to clean up the battlefield. Alastor reveals that Lamias is truly Lenin Side, the inventor of the Fuzetsu and numerous other powers of unrestrained, as he was departing. While Marjorie was wandering aimlessly on top of a structure, Marchosius spotted Ida and Keisaku waiting for them. The following day, when Yuji and Shauna walk to school together, Kazumi notices them and wonders about their relationship. Hayako Ike gives out passes to a water park because it's so hot outside. When the lesson is ready to begin, Shauna exits the room unhappy because Yuji's training is not going well, and because she finds Yuji's excitement over the water park ticket annoying. She spoke with Alastor about Yuji's training and attitude, as well as how people like to play and be near water. She even questioned Alastor about the difference between the water in the park and bathing water. Later, Ike urged Kazumi to invite Yuji and Shauna to join her and him for dinner, and also bring Yuji to the water park, but none of those initiatives were successful. On a Sunday after school,